Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ask Jay Live. I got here with me Amit.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, how you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just excited to talk about first-time home buyers and definitely the experience that people are going through. It's definitely something that is a whirlwind in your mind, being a first-time home buyer. You don't know what to expect, so you definitely need somebody that can help you guide you through the rough rivers.
I'll tell you my story. I started selling real estate in '88, but prior to that, before I bought my first home, I was living with some people, and the first advice they give you is, Jay, go out and buy the most expensive furniture. That way, when you buy your house, you don't have to worry about buying furniture at your house. But it was the lousiest thing I ever did because I could have used that as a down payment on the home.
Yeah. And you also don't know what fits in which room.
Definitely. So these are things that typical mistakes we make. Most people, our dream is to get at least our first home, to live in a home, right? Most of us, we come in here, let's say, at an earlier age, and we want to buy a home. We don't want to know what is involved in buying a home. We see our friends and family moving, and at the same time, we are so curious. Let's say hi to Naeem. Naeem, how are you? And
Ravi and Danny and Michael.
Michael, how are you? Thanks for joining. Please share as well. We appreciate that. Okay, so now, Amit, I'm a first-time buyer. I'm living in an apartment. I don't know anything whatsoever.
Yep.
I'm now starting out. What do you think should be my first step?
Well, your first step definitely, Jay, is to find somebody that you can trust. Somebody that has a little bit of experience in the industry and somebody that's trustworthy. So a real estate professional.
Well, there are 65,000 realtors out there, right? And everybody say they are the best, right? I find the best way possible is through referral. If someone refer you or recommend you to someone, it's good to be along, interview that realtor as well, right? For certain things.
And many people interview 2 or 3 realtors before they make the right decision. So you don't have to be hung up by the first person that you say, okay, come on over. You have the right to choose.
So now, let's get into that a little bit later. But now, do you think I need to go to the bank?
Definitely. So the first step, we'll step back a couple steps. So the first step is actually talking to your bank. So the bank is going to ask you for a few things to get something it's called a pre-qualification done. So a pre-qualification is actually something that tells you how much money the bank will lend you to purchase your home.
Okay, that's beautiful. Guys, if you're looking on there, please, if you have any questions, ask us. That's what we are here for. It's called Ask Jay. So ask us any questions you have in your mind, okay? Not about gardening today, please. Okay? All right. Good. So now, typically what the bank look at, they look first thing at your credit. So if my credit is a blemish or damage to an extent, can I buy a home right now?
You still can, but there's different avenues you have to go through. So typically, there's what the bank calls is there's A lending as well as B lending. So we won't get into that too much today, but basically, credit
There's still chance.
Exactly, you still have a chance, and credit is very important.
Right. So protect your credit. Protect it very carefully. I find many times I'm sitting with buyers who want to buy a home. They co-sign for a friend who want a cell phone. The friend did not pay their cell phone bill, and it damages their credit. Right, so be careful. Your credit is your ability to borrow money, and you want to protect that at all costs. Try avoid co-signing for family and friends,
if possible.
If possible, okay. Sometimes you have to do it, but be careful. Make sure that your credit is not blemished or damaged in any way. Right now, the next thing the bank look at is your income. The bank consider your whole income as one big pie. They will slice 32% of that pie and use that to buy your home. Right, that income. That is called the GDS ratio, in technical term, but that doesn't matter. And 42% of that pie is to buy your home and to pay for all your debts. So an average person that is making, let's say, $100,000 can spend $32,000 towards their home, let's out of that they have to pay their property tax and their
all
monthly
their
mortgage.
maintenance, mortgage, all of their additional.
Right. So the way the bank look at it, the bank will take out the property tax, divide the rest by 12, and tell you how much your monthly payment can be.
Exactly.
So the first important step for you guys who are planning or buying your home is work out your budget, how much you can afford to put every month towards that home. Right?
And
base it on your...
And also you have to take a look and see what exactly is involved in dealing with a home on a monthly basis. Many people think it's just a mortgage payment.
Let's say hi to Nadeem.
Oh, hi Nadeem. Thanks
How
for
are you?
joining us
Thanks
today.
for joining us. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Okay, that's what we are here for. Okay. Yeah, so we were getting back on track. So we were talking about your monthly payment. That's very important.
Yeah, so something as simple as your electric bill or your water bill. People don't realize that all these things add up. So you're going to have your heat, your electric, your gas, your property taxes. These are all things that people not always are paying attention to. So these add up to the whole pie of what you can afford to be paying on a monthly basis.
So in addition to your mortgage, you do have to pay property tax. You have to pay utility bills. You got to pay, that's heating, lighting, and water.
Yeah.
You got to pay, if you're buying a home, you got to pay fire insurance as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's about another $100.
If a good tip or a funny thing to note, actually, the bank will actually not lend you money unless you have your fire insurance done. Even if everything is set up, the bank needs to see that fire insurance.
That's so important. Now, one of the dangers that many buyers have out there is that they go out, they meet a realtor, the realtor get them to sign a set of papers. They don't have a copy of their paper and they don't know what they really signed.
Right.
Right. We have seen this many times where buyers are coming to me and say, Jake, I want to buy a home, but I went with a realtor and I signed some papers. They got themselves tied up in a 1 year or 6 month contracts in a buyer agency.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you shed some light on that?
I definitely will. So the buyer agency agreement is something that is actually designed so when you sign with a realtor, it's really to sign and let you know that you have faith in that realtor to find you that property. But what we've been seeing in recent years is realtors that are sometimes asking you to sign, and maybe they've signed with 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 other people, and sometimes you may not have time for that specific person anymore. So what's happening is they've signed a 1-year contract, or one time we saw a 2-year
Yes.
buyer representation agreement, and that means you cannot go look at homes with any other realtor, and you can't solicit any other realtor, you can't purchase with any other realtor. You're stuck on contract with that one agent, and sometimes you might not even be able to get a hold of them.
The other problem is here, if you went out and go and buy a home, on the scene they buy a home with someone else, and inside that contract they got that the buyer have to pay them 2.5% commission if they go and buy through another realtor. Right? So now they are caught in a contract, they use another realtor, and the other realtor they did not use who got a contract is suing them now for 2.5% his commission.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because there's been some articles recently in the news that have come to light, and the full 2.5% has been awarded to the other realtor.
Yeah, so folks, this is a very important advice for you as a first-time buyer. Make sure that if you are signing a buyer agency contract with a realtor, just make it 2 months. You don't have to make it for a year. Review it, make it 2 months. Make sure that the compensation the realtor is getting, it should state that if they are getting, let's say, 2.5%, they must get that through the listing broker, not that you have to pay them direct. Okay? Because there are many cases where people get caught and they have to pay that direct as well. Right? So read that contract is very, very, very important.
It's only 3 pages, but very important. And it's sometimes the quickest thing you sign, so you don't even take a copy. Always make sure you get a copy of all documents that you sign.
Anything you put your signature belong to you. You should have a copy of it, and make sure you get that copy now. There are many times that you can always tell people, hey, you know what? I would like to take 24 hours to review these things.
Oh, yeah.
I was selling a property, a business property, to a multi-millionaire, and we agree in everything. And the guy said, Jay, you know what? I agree in everything, but I have a policy. I don't sign anything within 24 hours. Which I find is interesting,
It
because
is.
what he's good, he takes it home, he get enough time to review it, make the right decision before he move forward.
And definitely, you could even call on someone if you did something that you don't understand. You can call on independent, third-party advice.
Yeah, that's very, very important. Now I went to the bank. I got pre-qual. The bank said, "Hey, you get 500,000. Go out and shop for your home." I choose a realtor. I found a realtor I work. I start going out to buy a home.
Yep.
Now, should I look for? I have two options. I could buy a condo, let's say at $350,000.
Right.
I'm qualified for 5. Or should I step up and buy a home, a freehold property?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. Many people are not aware that the fact. Oh, also, hello,
see.
Nadine.
Thanks to you and Andrew for assisting me with the sale and purchase of my home. Nadine, thank you so much. We appreciate that so much, and we are here to serve. Okay, that's why we are here for. Our passion is to give back. That's why we are doing this, right? Yes. So now let's get back. Let's get back on track here. We are talking about now. I find that, let's say you're buying a condo at $350,000.
Right.
You might be paying $500 in maintenance fee.
Very much, and that's something that people don't realize. That actually is subtracted from your the servicing amount for your debt on a mortgage.
And in addition to that, look at it this way: out of that $500, maybe $150 per month you're getting benefit. They may give you water, cable TV, and that's about really what you will
The
get.
majority is going to go right into that reserve fund.
Right. But now this is what's important. Why not take that extra $350,000? It could probably give you a buying power of almost $75,000 to $80,000 more.
Yes, definitely.
And you step up from that $350,000 to $425,000, $450,000, and buy a home instead. Your payment will be the same, but you're in a better property because you don't have to pay that maintenance fee anymore.
Exactly, and that's something that a lot of people just don't realize. So maintenance fees are something it's important to make sure and manage that.
That's very important. Friends, if you can, please make sure you share this to other first-time buyer, because we are talking important stuff, okay? It's very important for first-time buyers. Now, let's talk a little bit about power of sale. Many people feel that power of sales and bank sale property are the best property to buy.
Definitely.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If somebody cannot pay their mortgage, do you think their house will be run down, or would it be well kept?
Oh, definitely run down.
So bank sale properties, they can't pay their mortgage. Chances are they can't upkeep their
Maintain the
home.
home.
Their home will be a rundown home,
Definitely.
right? Now, there's a major difference between power of sale and foreclosure,
Yes.
right? Foreclosure is more in the States. States is when foreclosure is, well, if you can't pay me, I sell your home, I make a profit, I keep it.
Yep.
I make a loss, that's my problem. Power of sale is the reverse. If I make a profit, I have to give you back your money.
Yes.
And if I make a loss, I can sue you.
Yes.
Right? Canada have power of sale, not foreclosure.
Yes.
So in the early 90s, I could recall an average about 50 power of sales were coming out every day on the market. Okay? A few banks undersold the property knowingly. The homeowner decided to sue these banks. He said, "Hey, bank, do you think it's fair because I could not pay, you turn and sell my house for next to nothing and did not make fair effort to sell it and give me my money back?" And the bank loses. Since that, the banks become very, very scared. What they do, they want 2 appraisers to go through the property. Then, in addition to that, what they will do, they want the realtor to give them an appraised value as well. They will try the higher end first. It doesn't sell, they will drop it a little bit. Doesn't sell, they will drop it until it gets sold. The public feel its power of sale is giving away, but it's not really true.
And one thing that the general public really believes, and it's a misconception that's been around for 20 years, is that if the bank only owes, they only owe $300,000 on the property, that's what they're going to sell it for, even if the property is worth $500,000. That is not the case. So just to reiterate what Jay is saying, that is not the case. They're going to give their best efforts to sell it at fair market value.
Right. Usually there are times that the bank will sell it a little bit under. For example, if the homeowner damages the home, I see home where the homeowner said, "Oh, the bank is taking it." They went with a hammer, and bang, 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 take out the cupboards and everything, and they damaged the home. In that case, the bank can sell the home at a reduced price because the bank can say, "Hey, this person damaged the property,
and the value is no longer there."
The value is no longer there. Right? Good way to negotiate power of sale. I'll tell you this trick though. If the property have a tenant in it, that's where you can negotiate a really sweet deal. I'll tell you this story. There was a property in Brampton 5 years ago. Average selling price about $350,000.
Right.
Right? Had a tenant in it. Because it had the tenant in it and it went power of sale, most realtors do not want to go there because they fear that they cannot get vacant possession. What I did, I took an offer in, and I took the offer about $50,000 below the market value. And because there is no competition, I went up an average of $1,000 each time. And the bank came down substantially because they hadn't any other offers. But the trick is that you can buy that property, it have the tenant in it, and you can get the bank, you can fill out an affidavit, sign it, and give it to the bank and say, "Here, could you serve this to the tenant because I want vacant possession for myself?" And the bank will go ahead and get rid of the tenant for you.
Oh,
so you can definitely you have negotiating power because no other offers are there. So that's one good way to do it. Let's talk a little bit about negotiating as well, because that's important if you as buyers want a good deal for the property. There are certain ways you can negotiate. Number one is most of a give and take.
Yes.
If, for example, many times we go into properties, we see that the seller put a specific closing date. I want November the 15th as my closing date.
Definitely. And if they want that specific closing date, there's got to be something else that they're willing to give on. A lot of the times you can say, well, they want this date because they've already purchased their other property and it's closing on that date. But you've noticed, you walked around and you've noticed some issues with the paint or maybe some cracks in the windows. You can say, well, every negotiation is a give and a take. We're going to give you your closing date, but we are going to need a little bit of a reduction in price to fix a few of these other issues there.
Yes, beautiful. It's so important also to assimilate information before you literally go into a negotiation. I'll tell you this story. I went, one year I was presenting an offer down at the Western Road and Rogers area.
Right.
Walking in with the realtor to get her to the property, I asked the realtor one question. I said, "Could you tell me why those people are selling?" And he said that the lady, she was taking care of this older gentleman. He passed and she left the estate to him. All he wanted is to get the property sold and get a ticket right away to go back home.
Oh.
Right? So what I did, I had two offers. I had a blank offer and I had one that I made out with a price.
Right.
Right? The blank one, I went back in the car and I give my client a quick call and take their instructions to go in 50,000 lower on the price.
Right.
I put that in the offer. Now, when I negotiate, because I have that information now, I did not go up on the price. We said we'll give you $5,000 deposit. Then as the negotiation proceeded, I said, you know what? We will give you $5,000 deposit cash. You get that money tomorrow morning in your bank, and we will put $5,000 in the trust account. And we will give you 2 weeks closing, but we cannot come down on the price.
Yeah.
We cannot go up on the price.
Yeah.
You know, the lady bite on that, because that $5,000 we give her in her hand, she go and bought her plane tickets. And they pay $50,000. Yeah.
So really, it's more about having all of the information before going into a negotiation. You don't want to be caught deer in the headlights.
Definitely. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So, you'll listen twice as much, talk half as much. Let's talk a little first-time buyers again about RRSP.
Right.
What is really involved in a first-time buyer if they want to use their RRSP?
Well, with RSPs, you can actually withdraw up to $25,000 per spouse for a first-time home buyer. Now, what the bank will actually do is they will give you 15 years plus 2 as a repayment schedule on that. So what that means is you have to repay 1/15 of that per year back into your RSP account. So really what they're doing is they're saying, you've saved up this money for your RSPs, but we know it's a big chunk, and we're going to allow you to purchase a home with this as your down payment deposit. But you just have to make sure and pay it back slowly before you hit retirement.
Well, the bank is smart because the government is smart because the government figure in 15 years plus the 2 years, 17 years, you would have probably 2/3 pay off for your home and you got your RSP. So you're all set for retirement. You can't go on the government.
Exactly.
Right? So they are great for that.
They're looking out for our best interest as well.
Right, of course. That's important. But now, as a first-time buyer, I don't have my down payment as yet. But myself and my spouse, we are making decent income. Would you recommend that we buy our maximum RSP?
Oh, definitely. Because there's very seldom you will find people that are already maxing out their RSP contributions. So even in some cases, you can actually take some of that extra money that you've set aside for your home purchase, the $10,000 or the $15,000 you've set aside, and you can even just say, dump that into your RSP. What's going to happen, as long as it's before the RSP tax deadline and your purchase is going to be after the fact, you're going to get a nice lump sum back from the government.
Wow. So folks, please send in your questions. We appreciate it if you can send in your questions and also share this information. We really appreciate that. Now, Amit, about the Caribbean Children Foundation, what's happening?
All right, so we've had a very, very busy month of August. So Caribbean Children Foundation, we had the Summerland. That was great. We've also participated in the Caravana as well. So really what we're trying to do is make sure that everyone knows that the Caribbean Children Foundation is there to assist. We really want anyone that knows anyone that needs some assistance to reach out to us and see if there's any way we can help.
Great, thank you so much for that. TCCF is an exemplary organization, been around since 2001, and every dollar raised goes directly to the cause. Nobody is being paid. You can look for information on our website.
The Caribbean TCCFangels.com.
And you can make a contribution if you feel there as well. Now, tying up for that, in September, back to school, the Brij team is having our very famous first-time investment workshop.
Yes.
Right? Usually we don't charge for it, but any donation that we get from it goes directly to the Caribbean Children Foundation. Now, getting into that, how about the market? What do you think is happening in the marketplace presently? Well, you've seen it went like a pendulum from here to here.
Definitely. It definitely is taking a big swing. So what's happened, realistically, the market is still up year over year, but we did have a peak in January, February, March. What's happened is the last stats that were produced show the market was up roughly 28% in January, February, and March year over year.
Right.
Since then, it's fallen by roughly 8%. So it's come down a little bit, but it looks like it's just stabilized. We're looking at a nice stable trajectory onto next year, where you're probably going to see January, February, March, things pick back up in the regular swing of things.
Well, I always find it interesting. I mean, I've been tracking this for 30 years. And in the cold weather, it's always a hot time to sell.
Yeah.
And in the hot weather, it's a cold time to sell. It's a good time
to buy.
Right? So it's just the reverse. It's just that people focus changes. Right? This year, one actually changes more is that more, I think, is a knee-jerk reaction to the government coming out and say, hey, we will do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. They haven't done anything much though. All they did, they've slapped a toll on foreign buyers.
And also on flippers as well.
They haven't slapped that toll as yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
Right, it's coming, but the thing is that because of that, most of the people that were sitting on the side waiting to sell their home later dumped their home on the market.
Yeah.
And that create a good buyer atmosphere because in the February market, you could not negotiate.
No, you were actually, personally, I was in offers where, there was 18 other realtors outside looking to purchase that one property. And people are bringing $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 draft deposit with them to the property. And they're still losing.
They're still, and now you can negotiate maybe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 off the price, right? You just have to make sure you get there and negotiate properly. Once there are no offers, you can negotiate drastically.
Yep.
It's always good. Warren Buffett put it this way: he said, always go against the flow or the trend, right? Buy when everyone is selling and sell when everyone is buying.
Exactly.
So we don't have to get caught up in that crowd environment. If everybody is moving this direction to sell, we are rushing to sell at low price. We should now negotiate good deals.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a great time for buyers to negotiate good deals. As a buyer, now you are buying a home for the first time. Let's talk a little bit about condominium purchase.
Right.
What are some of the things I should look at if I am buying a condo? I'm just buying my first property, moving from apartment. I could afford a condo, let's say $200,000-$300,000 worth of condo. What should I look for?
Well, there's a couple major things, but we'll start with the minor things. Now, really, you want to see what's included in that condo when you purchase it. So, typically, a maintenance fee may be anywhere from $300 to $600 on a maybe a 10 to 15-year-old condo. You're going to want to see what's included. Are they including water with that maintenance? Are they including hydro? Are they including heat? All of these things could be an additional cost if they're not already included in there. So that's the preliminary things. You want to see what's included. Each building also tells a story, and that's very well documented stories in something called the status certificate. So the status certificate is going to have all the documents about how much money the condo has in reserve, how much money they have to fix the windows, the doors, the roof, all of these different things. And literally a history of the management's expenses and what they've spent and bought. So you can actually take a look and judge and say, well, I think these guys have been responsible with the money or they have not been responsible. Luckily, that's not only up to you. You definitely are going to get your lawyer to review that. It's a very, very long document, maybe 50, 60, 70, 100 pages long. But your lawyer will be able to guide you and help you go through every piece of that document and make sure that you're buying a property that's the right fit for you. Those are the two major things I would take away.
Okay, that's very important. Now, if you're buying a condo, remember the maintenance fee that someone is paying, part go into a reserve that call a reserve fund, and part is going to day-to-day maintenance. Now, if a building have a very low reserve fund, I mean they don't have a lot of reserve put away for emergency, in event they have to change their roof, then they will have to go after all the homeowners, and they will special assess for the difference to make up that difference because they don't have it in the reserve fund.
Yeah, special assessment, it's funny you mentioned that, but special assessment is basically they slap every unit holder with a nice bill. And they say, well, we're short by $1 million, so divide by 300 unit holders, and here's your bill.
And you can't refuse to pay that. They'll put a lien against your property, and they can actually sell your property under power of sale as well. The condominium cooperation can do that. Hi, Savitri, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. And please share it and pass the word around. Any question, please let us know as well. Okay? Yes, so that's the problem with the condo. If you're buying a condo, make sure that you have that story or that history.
Yeah.
Right? The status certificate is extremely, extremely important. It tells you whether there's any lawsuit in the building. If there's a lawsuit, and the chances are the lawsuit is from a contractor or someone slip and fall, and the corporation have to pay out huge amount of money. then the reserve fund can be depleted.
Oh, definitely.
I've seen that. Right? In other cases, if the reserve fund is strong and the maintenance fee is reasonable, chances are that condo will go up in value. I'll tell you this, I'll give you an example. In 1989, I sold condos at Jane and Steele's.
Okay.
Okay, those I sold then for $134,000. Right? Price went up drastically from then to now.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now, in today's industry, guess what? Those condos, you can buy them for $34,000 to $45,000. How would you justify that when price went up so much?
Yeah.
The problem is that the maintenance fee went from $410 all the way to $950. And the property, actually, they are in arrears. And because of that, the bank don't finance them, period.
So you have to buy in cash?
Right. When it comes to condos, make sure that if the banks say no, that they don't like the status certificate or they are not financing that building, then you have to be careful.
If the bank doesn't want to put their money there, you shouldn't want to put yours either.
Yep. That's very, very important that we take it from there. That's important. Now, that's about condo. We are buying a property, not a condo anymore. Let's say a nice freehold property. What are the three most important elements we should look for? Location, I know, is critical.
Always, yeah. Next, we also have location. Then we also have one other point, amenities, and right in the middle, we have
the size.
How big your home is. You can never add more onto a home, but you can always upgrade the amenities.
Yes.
So realistically, the location is the number one thing you want to be looking at. Then you're looking at all of the sizes, and then you're looking at the amenities. Now, one thing to be very, very open and honest about is everyone does this. We walk into a home and we see lovely amenities and we just think, wow, always, if this is a great place, I want it right away. There's always room to upgrade your home. So definitely, being a first-time home buyer, you sometimes have to step back and take a look at the location and the area and how big the home is and say, I'm willing to do a little bit of work in this property, instead of buying the smaller home that's completely done up to the nines and maybe it doesn't fit your needs in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years. It's better to get that right home, and that's why it's always good to have the advice of a good realtor.
That's a great point. Good that you mentioned that. You see, in real estate, there is a principle that's called principle of progression and principle of regression.
Right.
Principle of progression states that if you are the smallest home in the big shot neighborhood, the big shot neighborhood will pull your value up. Regression is the reverse. If you got the biggest home in the poor man neighborhood, then the poor man neighborhood will pull your value down. What you want to do, you want to make sure that your home, you probably got a medium size or smaller size home,
the average
in the big shot neighborhood. It will pull your value up. Homes that are close to good schools are very important, good for your kids, and also good for your future sale, because other family members, when you're ready to sell that property, will be looking in there. Bottom line, you buy premium, you can sell premium. You buy less than premium, you have to sell less than premium, right? It's always good to stay by a little bit away from major density area. For example, if there are a lot of apartment buildings around and the home is next to the apartment building, then you may not want to buy that.
Definitely. Right? So you'll also notice that maybe next to very large intersections, sometimes the more coveted homes are just a little bit inside on one or two inside streets, but still you have to be close to good transit. Transit is also something that's very important. Good schools, good transit, these are all things that people are going to be looking for, and things that you are probably looking for as well.
Yeah. Now there's another important area we have to look at. I have an option. Some people says, hey, I don't mind buying a home on a busy street. I like the busyness, I like the traffic, and some will prefer an inside street.
Right.
Now I find that the busy streets, here are some of the problems you face. Number one, folks, you are backing onto a busy street or you're in front of a busy street. you find that there's a huge noise factor. Anytime you step out of your home, it's very noisy, right?
As soon as you open the window.
Right. Another important aspect. I had one client that was living on just backing on Steels in Rexdale, and they were constantly having headaches in that home. We sold that home, and they buy a home on the opposite side of the street, and they don't have any headaches anymore. Guess what? It's the number of cars and vehicles that pass that road with all that exhaust fumes. That's the emission without you realizing it. You are inhaling that all day. And the brake dust there is so tiny you can't even see it. Right?
And a lot of brake dust is still made with asbestos as well.
Yeah, definitely. So think about it, what's happening when you're backing onto these busy roads. Similarly, you have these electrical wires, these high voltage wires. There is no direct study that said they are bad, but there's no direct study that said they are good either. Right? That's what's happening. The bottom line is magnetic flux creating that will affect somewhere along the line. So it's good if you're buying properties.
Keep an eye out for these things.
Keep an eye out for these things because future buyer will look at it as well. Right? That's important. Bottom line, you buy a property, let's say premium, you live in it 10 years and you sell it at premium. Did you lose anything?
Not at all.
All you enjoy is the lifestyle. Right? Similarly, you buy garbage, you live in it 8 years, you sell garbage. You didn't lose any money, but that's what you've been living for 8 years in, right? So bottom line, step out and buy the best home in the best neighborhood.
Right.
Now, Amit, I want to thank you so much on behalf of the Brij team. Thank you so much. We will have Sheldon coming on just now.
All right.
Much appreciate that.
No problem. Great. Thank you, guys.
Yes. So, friends, remember that we will have this program every month, once per month. And we are looking forward for your comments. If you have any suggestions, if you have any advice, if you know of anyone who will require our service as well, we are here to serve our people. Our bottom line is that we are passionate about teaching you the right way and getting everything done. The Brij team has been around for over 30 years. I just want to introduce you to another member of the Brij team, and that's Sheldon. Sheldon, how are you doing?
Good, good. Hello, Facebook. How are you doing today?
All right, so good. So Sheldon, let me ask you something. First and foremost, what charity are you involved in recently? I know you were working along with us on Heart and Stroke. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Brij team has been working with the Heart and Stroke campaign, especially in the months of May and June. We've actually done 9 deals through the Heart and Stroke campaign. We raised about $900.
Now, how that program really works, what it's all about? It's a referral reward program that the Brij team have.
Yes. So pretty much the Brij team will use their clients referrals to donate to the Heart and Stroke campaign, and from there we raise monies for goods and services for people that are in need.
Well, how our program really works really is like this. If you refer someone to us, the first thing we do, without any qualification, we will send you out a card, a Tim Horton card or Starbucks card, just to say thank you. Then what happens if the person do buy or sell through us, we will eventually also send you a gift, and we'll put you into a referral draw to win a trip anywhere. Usually last time we have Cuba, we might have Costa Rica the next time because I just came from there and it's beautiful. And we will give $100 donation to a charity of choice that we are using at that time. Now, you don't have to enter our draw by referring someone. You can still email us and we will put you in that draw as well. Okay, that's very important. Yeah. Now, we are talking today about first-time home buyer.
Yes.
Right? Now, as a first-time home buyer, what do you think in your mind is the most important decision they should look for? What are the most important thing that comes to their mind?
As a first-time home buyer, you want to make sure that you are satisfied with what you're purchasing. So that's making sure that you're qualified for any home that you desire to purchase. First step is to definitely get a pre-approval and make sure that you're able to afford the home.
Now, no, Sheldon, it's not cheap to buy a home. There are many costs involved in buying a home. First, if you buy a home, let's start from the beginning. You got the first thing you want to do, you got to pay an inspector to inspect that home.
Yes.
That's an average, what, $300 to $400?
Yes. Depending on the home size. Yes.
The home size.
Yeah.
And then the next expense will be the bank want to do an appraisal. There will be an appraisal cost.
Yep.
Then there will be land transfer cost.
Yes.
Right? Land transfer is that really it's a sales tax you pay in your home, but you cannot move the home, so you transfer the home from one owner to the next. That's why they call it a land transfer tax.
Right.
Many people ask me, but why do you pay land transfer tax on a condo? It's not on the land. It's up in the air, but you pay land transfer tax. Well, the answer is same. The government just changed the wording, says let space be land. And suddenly everyone had to pay land transfer tax. Okay? So something simple as that. Now, in addition to that, the land transfer tax is usually between 1 to 2% of the purchase price. If you call us, we can calculate it for you. Or there are a lot of online calculators. You can just go to land transfer tax calculators and calculate it yourself. I always advise our client to put away between 1 to 1.5% money towards closing cost.
Yes.
Right? That's very, very important for them to do that. In addition to your down payment, cater the 1 to 1.5% money. Now, Shell, let's say I have about $20,000 and my family member is giving me some money. It's not in my account. The bank are very serious. They want to see that money in your account, or they want a gift letter.
Yes.
Could you throw some light on that?
If you don't have the money in your account, I definitely advise you to make sure that you get it in right away before you decide to go through with any purchase, so that the bank sees where the money is coming from. That is very important because you do not want to delay the process in purchasing your home, and that can definitely stall you from purchasing that home.
That's so important. Now let me throw something else at you here. You know, you just joined Toastmasters. I see you coming out of the meeting with us, right?
Yes.
I hope you're enjoying that, folks. Toastmasters is an organization where you can actually come out and learn to speak professionally and at the same time learn leadership skills. I'm the current president of the Harsha Toastmaster Club in Brampton, and we are looking for young professionals or anyone who want to improve their speaking skill, communication skills, and leadership skills. It's very important. Just give me a call, 416-418-2745, and we will take it from there. Sheldon is just becoming a member tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll get you in
Very
there,
excited.
right? That's exciting.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward for that.
Yeah.
Now, an average buyer, if they, let's say they put 5% down, they only have 5% down to put down. How does the bank look at that? They need to borrow money. Could you explain a little bit about the role of CMHC and what's happening in that aspect?
Depending on the percentage that you put down in terms of a mortgage, that's what you're going to pay in interest towards CMHC. So, for example, if you were to put only 5% down, you are likely to have to pay 4.4% back interest to the CMHC.
Yeah, let me explain really what it is. Now, if you as a buyer, if you have 20% to put down on your home, then you have something called a conventional mortgage. You don't involve an insurance company. In the old days, what tend to happen, someone go to the bank and they get less than 20% to put down on the property. The bank says, oh, sorry, I'm not touching you. You guys are high risk. You don't have the required down payment. Now, the government get involved and the government says, hey, bank, if you wait until that buyer can save enough money to offset your risk, the price goes up, the buyer never gets that 20%, you, the bank, don't have business, we, the government, will not make any taxes, and the buyer cannot buy any home. Sure. So that's a lose, lose, lose. What the government does, they said, let's change it to a win-win-win. Yeah. What they do, they form a company called Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. The whole idea of CMHC is insuring the mortgage on behalf of the bank. So let's say you as a purchaser bought a property, you put 5 or 10% down, you cannot pay for that property, the bank will sell it under power of sale.
Yeah.
If the bank make a loss, let's say 5, 10, 15,000, then CMHC will give the bank that money. So the bank technically loses zero. So the bank says, sure, how much money you want to borrow? I don't mind lending you. But your risk drops as the more you put down. So if you put 5% as a down payment, then you will be paying 4.10% as a CMHC fee. The bank will lend you that money. But folks, it's a benefit to you, the buyer, so there will be HST on that 4.10%. Although you are technically not benefiting, it's protecting the bank. If you put, let's say, 10%, then that risk drops. 15% it drops more, and at 20% they figure there is no risk, right? Now, let me ask you this question. I bought my first home, and someone advised me, you know what, Jay, go and renovate this home as much as possible. I usually tell them this story about a $200,000 couch. So, could you tell us a little bit? Do you remember that story?
The $200,000 couch.
Yes.
You'd have to refresh my memory.
Okay. Here, this is what happened. Let me just refresh. Now, the $200,000 couch story is like this. This gentleman and his wife, they went to the store, they bought this lovely piece of furniture, put it in the house. They come, sat in it. It looked so beautiful, but all the other furniture looked ugly. So they went out and buy all matching furniture to match all of those furniture. Suddenly the house looked ugly, and then they have to sell the house to get another home. The bottom line is that we get caught up spending money, upgrading one thing, then the next, then the next, then the next, then the next. And before we realize it, we top up so much credit and we do not benefit. My advice as a first-time buyer, when you buy your home, don't pump too much money into renovating and upgrading that home. I mean, it must be decent to live in, right? But don't get carried away. Take that extra money instead, dump it on the mortgage. By dumping it in the mortgage, your mortgage will come down. And as your mortgage comes down, and if the price goes up, you're building something called equity. Next 4 or 5 years, you will have enough equity and you may want to step up to another home. We advise you, the Brij team advise you, don't sell that property if you don't have to. What we will prefer to see you do, take out some equity from that home, buy your dream home, find a proper tenant, put the tenant in this home, and let that home work for you. Now you are doing one thing different. You are putting money to work for you. Right? So that's very important. Sheldon, let me ask you this. If you have 4 properties, each giving you $2,000 per month, that's times 4 times 2 is $8,000 per month, times 12. $96,000 per year?
Yeah.
How would you like to get from your RRSP $96,000 per year?
Oh man, if that was the case, I'd run to the bank right away.
Okay, you know, for you to get $96,000 per year on an RRSP at, let's say, even 5%, which is way premium, you do have to get about $1.5 to $2 million in that RRSP, which I find is very difficult to do. However, folks, do you know one home actually can buy another home in about 5 to 7 years without you putting any money in it? So if you are younger looking at a home now and you follow our advice, you buy your first home, good location, good structure, good bones, and you take care of that property, and the value of that property goes up, you can literally now take out money from that property, buy your other property. Now, this is what will happen. Over the years, in 25 years, you got 4 properties. And that will be your best method of retiring. Make sense?
Wow, that definitely makes sense.
Okay. So where do you see the market going?
Well, as what Amin and Jay were saying earlier, it's always best to sell when it's cold and buy when it's hot. So right now it's still summer and it's we're going into the fall season. So what's happening is summer has been pretty slow in terms of inventory selling on the market. What happens is because the weather is getting now colder, it will eventually start to increase just a bit before we go into the next year.
Well, that's very important. I'm glad you shared that. Now the market really followed the school year, folks. You see, in the summer months when the kids are off of school, people focus changes. Marine land, wonderland, backyard barbecue, weddings, cottage country, everybody focus changes. The market slows. And then when everybody is back to school, everyone sort of focus back on what they want. It goes up again, closer to Christmas, it comes down. Right? So that's what tends to happen. Just want to thank...
Hey, I would just want to thank Colin for his entertaining comment.
Okay, thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
Please, everyone, if you have any questions, please let us know. We are here to answer your questions as well. Today's topic is specifically about first-time buyer. Let me give you an update as to the market, what's going on in the marketplace, and how you can take advantage of the market. You see, in the early January, February, March market, price went up substantially because of lack of properties. Then the government got worried about that, and they came out in April and said, you know what, we will be implementing certain changes to slow the market down. That created a knee-jerk reaction and caused supply to increase. And the market shifted like a pendulum from a seller market to a buyer market. However, the price will not stay down forever. Give it around January, February, you will start to see a gradual increase in price again. We may not have the crazy bidding wars like what we have today, but certainly we will see bidding starting again. Let's face the truth. Canada is a land of immigrants. Currently in Canada, we have 36 million people, and Canada is a very big country. Baby boomers about to retire constitute about 10 to 15% of the population. Now, in just a matter of time, the government will be faced with a major problem. 10 to 15% of the workforce will no longer pay income tax. That 10 to 15% will also start to collect old age benefits. And as we get older, our machines start to break down and we need more health care. Where would the government get this money from? The best way is to increase immigration. Now, when immigrants come in this country at a young age, they are also educated and they are ready for a good job, they're working. Their first dream is to buy their home. Where does most immigrants stay? Within the GTA. And if they are staying within the GTA, prices will go up. So I urge you, number one, as a first-time buyer in summary, do these things. If you are not ready as yet, but you may be a first-time buyer in a few years, number one, protect your credit. Number two, buy the maximum of RRSP because you can use at least $25,000 each as a down payment. That's yourself and your spouse, $50,000 for home. Number three, save as much as possible. Number four, educate yourself as much as possible. And when you are ready to purchase, make sure you choose the right realtor. Get pre-qualification done ahead of time so you know how much you can afford to buy. Take your time and look around for the right home because home have its own personality, and when you walk into that home, you will know that it's home, and that's what's important. When you are buying a home, look for three criteria. First, location. We cannot change the location. It's fixed. Second, in that location, look for size. Remember, we can always upgrade a smaller home, but we cannot always extend and make a smaller home bigger. We can always upgrade, a bigger home, but we cannot extend a smaller home. And number three, then you look for the amenities, the upgrades. Upgrades do not necessarily add value to the home. However, it's nice to have. Okay? I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us and for sharing what we are saying. We do have a passion for doing this, and we will be having Jail Live again next month. To all of you, once again, thank you. If you still have any questions or comments, please send us a message. We will try to get you an answer. And take care. Bye for now.